Hi, welcome to Future TechnoSif. I didn't already own a Garmin watch, the Fenix 8 would probably meet my needs, and I'd be perfectly happy with it. I use Garmin watches daily, and they've become an important part of my overall tracking setup. Still, if I was shopping around, I'm not sure if the Fenix 8 would be the watch I'd end up with, or if I'd go with another Garmin instead. Whether the Fenix 8 is the right watch for you depends on your personal needs and the budget you're working with. Even though it's one of Garmin's flagship watches, it can be overkill for some people. In many cases, a cheaper model might serve you just as well, or even better. In this video, I'll walk you through how the Fenix 8 performs when it comes to heart rate tracking, sleep stage tracking, and GPS performance. I'll also discuss whether it's worth getting this watch, or if one of Garmin's other models, or even a different brand altogether, might make more sense for you. The Garmin Fenix 8 is primarily an outdoor adventure watch. Of course, you can use it as an all-round smartwatch too, but its strengths really shine in rugged environments. It offers a large display, incredible battery life of up to 30 days, and if you choose the solar model, it can stretch to about 48 days. That makes it ideal for long hikes, expeditions, and extended trips where charging might not always be possible. Personally, whenever I go on long trips, I take one of my Garmin watches, usually from the Fenix, Epix, or Enduro series. This brings us to one of the first big comparisons, the Fenix 8 versus the Enduro 3, which was released around the same time. On paper, the two are quite similar, but there are key differences. The Fenix 8 comes in three sizes: 43mm, 47mm, and 51mm. The smallest one comes only in AMOLED, while the two larger sizes can be AMOLED or solar. That gives you more flexibility. The Enduro 3, on the other hand, comes only in one size, 51mm, with solar and a memory and pixel display. The default straps are different as well. The Enduro 3 uses a fabric strap, while the Fenix 8 ships with silicone. Design-wise, the Fenix 8 offers more understated options, including an all-black look, though these watches are large by nature, so understated is relative. The Enduro 3 stands out more with neon green highlights, so you'll need to decide if that style works for you. Feature-wise, the Enduro 3 misses out on some things. It doesn't have the speaker or microphone that the Fenix 8 has, and it doesn't include dive features. Interestingly, the solar ring on the Fenix 8 is smaller than the one on the Enduro 3. The Fenix 8 weighs about 95 grams, while the Enduro 3 is lighter at 63 grams. On the flip side, the Enduro 3 is a bit thicker. Both watches share the same 1.4-inch display resolution of 280x280 pixels, sapphire glass, titanium build, 32 GB of storage for maps and music, offline music, contactless payments, and daily tracking. So, which should you pick? If you want lighter weight, lower price, and don't need a speaker, microphone, or dive features, the Enduro 3 might be the better option. If you want sizing flexibility and more functionality, the Fenix 8 is the stronger choice. Price is another big factor. The 51mm Fenix 8 Solar costs about $1,200, while the Enduro 3 is around $900. Both are premium, but the Enduro gives you much of the same functionality for less. Still, I personally prefer the design of the Fenix, though that's a subjective choice. But Garmin doesn't stop there. There are other close alternatives within their own lineup. The Epix 2 Pro and the Fenix 7 Pro are both very similar in design and features to the Fenix 8. I've used both of them extensively for over a year, and I still enjoy them. They share the same sensors as the Fenix 8, but since they're older, they're now cheaper. Sometimes it's worth considering the previous generation instead of always chasing the newest model, especially when the upgrades aren't massive. The price difference between generations can be huge. On one end, you can find a Fenix 7 Pro Solar 47mm for about $550. On the other end, the Fenix 8 Solar Sapphire 51mm goes for about $1,230, more than double. In between are models like the Enduro 3, often around $850 on sale. Outside of Garmin, you'll also find competitors. Coros is one of the biggest rivals in this category with its Vertix series. The Vertix 2S, for example, costs around $699, has excellent battery life at up to 36 days, and many similar outdoor features. I've used the Vertix 2S and liked it a lot. However, I still prefer Garmin's ecosystem. Their app and overall integration with sensors feel more complete. That's not to say Coros is bad, but Garmin's ecosystem has a small but meaningful edge for me. Amazfit has also stepped into this space with the T-Rex 3, which costs only about $235. It's far cheaper than a Garmin, but surprisingly capable. It looks good, has a beautiful screen, and now even offers decent heart rate tracking, something Amazfit didn't always get right. Polar, too, has outdoor adventure watches like the Grit X2 Pro. Polar's ecosystem appeals to many, but in recent years, Garmin has pulled ahead in performance and user experience. Still, if you prefer Polar's design and interface, it's an option worth considering. All of these comparisons matter because when you're deciding on a watch like the Fenix 8, you're not just paying for features. You're paying for design, durability, battery life, brand ecosystem, and how it fits into your lifestyle. For some, the Fenix 8 will be the perfect match. For others, it might be overkill. Now that we've set the stage with alternatives and context, let's dive into testing the Fenix 8's performance in real-world use. I tested the largest version, the 51mm solar with MIP display, to compare more fairly with the Enduro 3. For reference accuracy, I used an ECG chest strap, which is still the gold standard for measuring heart rate. The first test was indoor cycling, which is usually one of the easiest activities for watches to track, since there's less arm movement. Over 13 indoor sessions, the Fenix 8 did reasonably well. Most points lined up with the chest strap readings, though there were occasional overestimates or underestimates. Sometimes it read too high, but more often it read slightly too low. The overall correlation was 0.9, not bad, but not perfect. Looking at individual sessions, the Fenix 8 sometimes lagged behind when picking up changes in heart rate. For example, when my heart rate spiked or dropped quickly, it didn't always catch it immediately. Still, it wasn't terrible. The general pattern showed quick recovery after delays, so it wasn't consistently off. When compared to other watches, the Fenix 8 ranked in the middle of the pack. Not the worst, not the best. It performed similarly to other Garmin models like the Fenix 7 and Epix 2, but fell behind Apple Watches and Google's Pixel Watch, which consistently lead in accuracy. That's indoor cycling. But when I tested it outdoors while biking, the results were more mixed. The correlation dropped to 0.67, showing less accuracy. Sometimes it tracked fine, but in other sessions it missed large portions of my heart rate. Again, this inconsistency made it unreliable for outdoor cycling on its own.